So tell me if you've heard this one before.
Can I speak to your manager?
If you have, then either you heard it from someone or you yourself have said it. In which case, I hope it was for a real good reason, like something went awry with a purchase or if an employee was having an attitude problem. In my lifetime, I have uttered that phrase only once, but that is another story for another time. What I'm trying to get at is I hear this sentence about twice a day from a customer, and 98% of the time it's because of a return policy that isn't going their way. There are many good reasons why stores have return policies, and each store policy is a little bit different. I mean, one cannot expect two different stores to have the same policy. That's just asinine. In the store I used to work at, the return policy is that you had 14 days to return your purchase. If it was a gift and you had the gift receipt, then you had 60 days. The only few times we can't do return is A, your return exceeds the return dates, therefore expired. B, you opened the product or already wrote on it. And C, it's a magazine or newspaper, therefore non-returnable. Then there's D, and this one's all about common sense. If you don't have the receipts, then we can't return it. Common sense, right? Well, you'd be surprised. More often than not, when I got customers who wanted to do a return, they met two of these four exceptions, and then they get all pissy about it like we've somehow insulted their intelligence, or lack thereof. After they hear the reason why that one phrase pops up, I think the reason why they say,
Can I speak to your manager?
is because they think if I can't do the return, then the manager will do it. But 8 out of 10 times, the manager is just going to repeat what I just said. In the end, the customer leaves without a return, but instead with a hissy fit, and I'm left with my manager looking incompetent. In the short time that I've worked at that bookstore, I can only think of two events where I deemed it suitable to call my manager. The first one happened in January of 2017, and it was a busy Friday. The customer I had was a man who wanted to return an unopened board game. The problem was that he had a normal receipt dating back to November. I tried explaining to him that I could not do a return because his purchase had expired, but he wouldn't have any of it. He slammed his fist on my countertop, got 2 inches too close to my face, and said in a dangerously low voice,
Get your manager.
and I did. As I called her on our phones and explained the situation along the lines of, I fear for my life here. Okay, I didn't say that, but it was pretty close. When she came down to just repeat what I told him, he still wouldn't have it and wanted his money back. In the end, we came to a compromise where we did an exchange, but he had to buy $50 worth of items to make up for the said board game. It really was such a waste of time, and nobody won in the end. This second one was in April of 2017, and it was really stupid. It's 10 minutes till closing, and I'm anxious to go home. This woman immediately comes to my register saying,
I just need to make this return.
In my head, I'm screaming, really? Now of all times you come to our store. But of course, I keep my mouth shut and ask to see the receipt. This customer's receipt was within our policy, but something was missing. Ma'am, where's the calendar you want to return?
Oh, I left it at home. Also, I already wrote on it, so if you can only do an exchange, that's fine too.
Yeah, she said that. It took a lot of willpower for me to not facepalm myself and scream in her face, go home and think about what you just told me. But again, I had to gently explain to the customer that could not and will not do the return. I don't know if she couldn't understand or didn't want to understand because she was coming up with a million excuses, most of them not making any sense. Before she was able to come up with 1,000,001, I politely excused myself saying, let me go get my manager.
Yeah, you better.
I explained the situation to my manager and she's instantly on the customer, explaining why we cannot help her. It took her a good couple of minutes, but in the end the lady left with nothing, not even her dignity. One can't help but smirk at that kind of fail. In the end, we retailers ask very little from our loyal customers. If you need to make a return, please make sure you have the proper requirements. Don't hesitate to ask. That's one of the many reasons why we are there to help.